Welcome in, everybody. Not the tone or the conversation I want to be having this Monday,
Yeah.
but it's the harsh reality of the NFL. And someone mentioned it today, and like the way you think about it, it really is true. There's only one team every year that doesn't feel this way when it's all said and done,
Yep.
which
Yeah.
kind of sucks, but there's a lot of truth there. Obviously, we had been all year long winning these tough, tight, close games, knowing that with this defense, eventually we were going to get got. And it just so happens that it took us till the first playoff game to finally have it to where we just couldn't overcome it anymore. That's kind of where I want. I mean, there's a lot of things you can talk about this game, a lot of things that went wrong. So what we're going to do, we'll start out kind of breaking down some stuff with the game, talk about thoughts, look forward a little bit. Yeah, we'll kind of go from there. But the first thing that's got to come up with this team is just that defense, man. I mean, what Daniel Jones ran for Daniel Jones. If I told you before this game Daniel Jones would be the leading rusher, would you have believed me?
Game. I would have believed you more than you believe me.
They started out the game designed running him against us.
Yeah. I was gonna say that right off the bat. So everybody who's in here, if you saw the thumbnail and the title, it's all about firing Donatel. I mean, that defense has been Achilles' heel all year long. We've been through it. We all had hope going into this season. What's going on, Justin? Skull man.
You go ahead.
Got it. But yeah, dude, we had this hope, and the defense kind of, it was the Achilles heel the whole time, and we've seen it in this playoff game. And just like what you were about to say, and this is what I didn't like about Ed Donatel in this game, was it was obvious what the Giants did with their game. They came out with a fantastic game plan, and it was to get Daniel Jones running the ball, and we must have not had like any plans for that happening, because it threw our defense off for the entire game, I felt like.
Yeah. And there was just, I think this game and season as a whole, I mean, I'll just mention just quickly, season as a whole, rookie head coach, new GM who's never been a GM before, still learning still learning how to be a GM in the league. 13-4 is a major success, right?
Yeah.
But definitely. There's enough that happened this year to where it's as good as that is, you leave this season feeling pretty good, but you also leave the season with a ton of question marks. You come in, you win your division, which is great, but now that's the expectation. You get the division winning schedule. You play all the other division winners in the conferences. You have a lot, and this is kind of where I wanted to go with this. When you just think about the people that we've watched the last 10 years play football for this team, and it's sad to think about the Kendrickses, the Harrison Smith, who am I missing? Danielle Hunter, just those type of guys that we've been watching play for a long time. It's like Adam Thielen. And there was one thing that just bothered me, and it was on the defensive side of the ball yesterday. And I think it really hit you after watching it, just to realize how far down things have gotten with this defense. And this kind of gets into is it scheme or is it players? But when Matt Breida on that third down, when he was able to convert, three people missed tackles in a row. The first one was Eric Kendricks. The first one, Eric Kendricks whiffed.
Yeah.
Danielle Hunter got his hands around him, couldn't bring him down. Then finally, Harrison Smith misses a tackle. Then eventually, I can't remember, I think it was Bynum brought him down. But that's and just in a row, it was just perfect. Just shows you kind of what we're looking at here. When it was Kendricks, Hunter, and Smith. All these guys just missed the tackle. And it was a big point in the game. And you're like, damn, these guys 3-4 years ago make that play.
Yeah.
You can see it's an aging defense. And
there's a lack of energy on that defense
for a playoff game. But that brings up, sorry to keep interrupting you here, but to me, that just brings up the question where, we all knew, people had different opinions. Was it players? Was it scheme? I think it's both. Ed Donatel, obviously, we've been getting killed over the middle all season long, and that didn't change. We still were yesterday. No adjustments to that. Danielle Hunter dropping back in coverage. Eric Kendricks on running backs. These guys just aren't meant for this, and that's a big thing. I think the complete swap from the 4-3 to the 3-4 was a terrible idea, because you didn't have these guys been playing in 4-3 defenses for the last 10 years under Zimmer.
Yeah.
So I think that was a bad decision. So coaching, as in the fact that the scheme wasn't good. We played that shell defense all the time. We never adjusted. That's on coaching, but it's on the players. And I think Wabi said this when he was on with us. It's on the players, because they're not right for the scheme. They're older, and they're not what we're looking for in that 3-4 scheme. So I think it's on everybody. It goes back to O'Connell too. He needs to know, it's tough to make that big of a transition with these players.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, like we said, they've been opportunistic. Like Patrick Peterson had been making play, we
He
opportunistic
didn't
at
have the
points.
best game.
No, he didn't. But they've all been opportunistic at points to close out games when, overall defense was bad, but they were opportunistic when they needed to be. And this game we weren't, and we just got absolutely destroyed. Brian Daboll, that's why we loved him so much coming into this year. Give him credit. The
Dude,
guy's a
he
genius
came in
head
with a
coach.
great game
He
plan,
did.
man.
He did. Then the other side of the ball, their defense didn't blitz us at all. And they, and we didn't know what to do. Like we had planned on them blitzing. But going back to our defense, it's frustrating that and when we did send pressure, nobody got there. And it left their guys wide open, people missing tackle. It's just it's sad to see, but this defense, it needs a complete overhaul. And that's the thing. Ed Donatel needs to be the scapegoat at the very least. Like you can't bring him back. And as we, and we kind of talked about it, and we talked about a lot of draft players, how we felt like Kwesi was kind of drafting the replacements of these older guys. We were hoping maybe we'd get another couple years out of them, but unfortunately, with how they played yesterday, the cap savings, just the feeling around the team, I think those changes are coming a lot sooner than we thought. I think we're going to see a lot of those changes come this offseason. And as I said, it's sad. It sucks. And I think that's why this loss stings a lot more.
As far as the coach goes, maybe by the end of the week, hopefully.
Who knows? Better be. But I think that's why this stings a little bit more, because you felt like this team had something special this year, and that they really could have taken it to the next level if they had just a halfway decent defense.
Yeah, dude.
But I think the reality is finally setting in that there's going to be this team is going to look a lot different going into next year. And I think that's the saddest part.
Yes. I just want to give everybody who's in here a reminder. We are giving this away at the end of the show. I'm actually going to bring it up right away. I know we're going to get into this guy a little bit later. I know Casey was talking about how good of a season he has, which he's had an amazing season, the best season I think of his career. But obviously we got some stuff to go into for that. Let me bring this up here real quick. Where is it? Right here. All right. So I'm going to start collecting comments. All you have to do is do #Skol and be subscribed to our channel. So go and subscribe there. #Skol in the comment section there to enter this. We'll get this going. Is that a Purdy card? I wish it was at this point. If it was, I probably wouldn't be giving it away yet. Maybe next year though. Once we get a little bit more people, maybe I'll get a Purdy card.
But I do want to jump into his comment here. Defense definitely needs to be better in many facets, moving too many errors on offense, and stop doing runs with Cook and passing to Jefferson. Yeah, that's something that, when we kind of jump over to the offensive side of the ball, I do want to get into that as well. I'm kind of want to start focusing on the defense, because the defense, say what you will about what the offense did, and we'll get into Kirk Cousins in a bit here. But
what's going on, Jim? Thanks, guys, popping in. Joseph, nice to see you, man. Oh, don't blame you. Yeah, the Purdy card thing is insane. That thing's crazy. Yeah. But anyways, so where are you going with this, Casey? Defense. It's just it was obvious that was our defense lost that game. Our offense was playing good. There was definitely, we'll get into this again still, but there's definitely some interesting play calls. Yeah, and that wasn't KOC's best offensive play calling game, which he has struggled with here and there throughout the season, but obviously he's still first-year head coach. Very successful season. But.
I'm a big, as you know, I think we both kind of feel the same way. I'm a huge Kevin O'Connell guy. I think he's going to be a fantastic head coach, just because of the leadership and the culture that he brings to this team. And I think we were seeing it in year one. Mike Zimmer loses half of these one-score games that we won this year.
Right.
We knew coming into the season he could do this to this team, and he's done it. And that's why this season is successful to a point. But he's got a long way to go as a play caller. Because this season, I felt with the talent on this team, I felt like the offense was way too stop and go. Like obviously we'd come out that we did it this game, firing in that first drive.
The first drive. I was talking to my friends during this game, and I was like, all right, so like we're gonna come and score on this first drive, and then either this is how we're going to know if we're going to be a different playoff team compared to what we've been to this point. We're either going to go and score again in the second drive, or we're going to go 3-and-out. Mm-hmm. And then we went 3-and-out. We went 3-and-out in the next two drives, I think.
Yeah. But I just felt like there was way too much of that this season, where like we'd come out firing. It's like, God, if we could just play this offense all the time, it'd be great. And then I don't know what. I think he got cute too often this season. I think he tried to do these weird plays, which we saw with that Kirk Cousins play, the double pass, which was ridiculous. On a first, if you got the first down, sure. You didn't get the first down. And this was a point right after the Giants had scored. You were losing this game. Like, you needed to come out and score. And that's what you come up with.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. Like, you just don't have Lamar Jackson out there. Kirk Cousins isn't going to juke two defenders out of his shoes, or out of their shoes. It's just not going to happen.
Which always does make me jealous. I wish I had a quarterback. I mean, Kirk Cousins has a good year, but I still wish you had a quarterback that had wheels. I mean, even on that last play by Kirk Cousins, we'll just jump all over the place here. So I'm gonna bring up the Kirk Cousins thing. You know, he had a great game the entire game, and anybody who watches us kind of maybe will get an understanding of my opinion, which was I think this was Kirk Cousins' absolutely best year. But I was not 100%. I needed to see it in playoffs, and he definitely he showed it in this game. He showed he was ready to step up for this game, but every single game this season, when it came down to the end, he's showed up better than any other season. Every single time, I don't think there's a single fourth quarter comeback. Every time we lost, we got our asses whooped. So every other game we were losing, he came back in those situations. And then the one time it really mattered, when the season's on the line, he makes that short throw to TJ Hawkinson to end the season. Right. And that to me, I mean, he still had a good game. I don't know exactly how I feel about the whole situation just yet, but it did come down to that one play, even though he did get blitzed. And that's one thing you wish he did have some sort of mobility, because he could have ran out of that pocket and it probably would have been an easy first down, but he doesn't have that ability to do that. But it's just, I honestly, personally, in that situation, I would have rather have had him just overthrown somebody. I would rather have had him throw a pick that was over the first down line, other than making the only decision that wouldn't get us past that first down.
Right. And I definitely agree with a lot of that. I was too harsh right away after the play happened. I put out the tweet about, wow, Kirk, this is why the media thinks the way they do, way to prove him right. And I definitely agree with your point there to an extent. I listened to Kirk after the game, and this is where I had a lot of respect for what he said after the game. Like, you could tell, like, most of the times people thought in years past when he lost, he's kind of like, yeah, ho hum, whatever. But you can tell this one stung. You can tell this one really hurt the guy. And just kind of listening to him, I went back and I kind of really watched the play and read what because we're just some guys we just talk on the internet about football, right? Yeah. I went back and kind of looked at some plays and kind of listened to what the experts had said about it.
Still could do better than Ed Donatell, though.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Yeah. And yes, like, there is a lot to unpack with that final play. First off, the play call, not great. I think there's too many deep routes. The fact that Hawkins, and I get it,
Hawkinson was a beast, by the way.
He is. But and I think KJ probably could have cut his route short and gone straight across instead of trying to round it out, because he did burst open there, but it was too little too late at that time. Mm-hmm. The protection wasn't great. I think Delvin Cook might have gotten in the way of Ezra trying to finish his block, but Ezra and Bradbury both just let Kirk, there's too much pressure in the pocket. And listening to Kirk's explanation really made me think about things. Where he said, he's like, I could have taken the shot to Jefferson, but he's triple covered down there. Kind of is what it is. Like, I just felt like it'd be too risky. He's like, and I knew the sack was coming, so I had to make the snap decision. It was either go to JJ or take the check down with TJ, and he's been breaking tackles all year, and at least get the ball in play, right?
Right.
And you listen to that, and you're like, 100%, I totally agree. Like, he didn't have a ton of options there, but then it goes right back down to it, to where, like you said, season's on the line.
You throw that up, and if it gets picked, it gets picked.
Exactly. And we're probably sitting here, some fans are gonna be like, oh, there he goes again, throwing interceptions when he doesn't,
Yeah.
I know me and you would have sat here looking at it like, you know what, man, you took a shot. Like,
yeah.
And JJ was triple covered in Buffalo, and he came down with the football. But it sounds, for anybody just tuning in, it sounds like I'm talking shit about Kirk Cousins, because I actually, after he explained it, I'm like, you know what, Kirk, I see your point. Like, get the ball in play to a guy who, since you traded for him, has been amazing. Leading receiver on the team yesterday, 10 catches, 129 yards. Like, I get his rationale, and he's pretty good at breaking tackles. But at the same time, like, had he taken that deep shot to Justin Jefferson, and he did throw an interception, I would have
preferred that. I would have preferred that than him making a decision that almost guaranteed we weren't getting a first down. Yeah, I mean, if you're banking that TJ Hawkinson's going to break a tackle, but that's a pretty slim chance. So, I mean, even if he would have gotten out of the pocket and tried to run for a first down, it's like he made just did just a bad decision that could not have gotten a first down pretty much. So that's like
Well,
the
I mean,
only
but I'm
thing.
not. But after his rationale, I don't think it was a bad decision because yeah, worst case scenario, like who knows if he even has time to finish that play? He might completely underthrow Jefferson with the pressure that he had because he got hit as soon as he let that go.
Still, at
The way
least
he
it's
put
over
it
a
out
first
there, like
down.
I needed to get the ball in play and hope for the best. Like it's a question that depending on what side of the Kirk spectrum you're on, you're gonna have a different opinion on it.
Yeah, and I would
So where
say
I've always been one who's I feel like one of my strengths is I'm good at seeing both sides, and I think that's kind of part of it. But also, like I'm gonna my thoughts on this. I'm gonna end it with the fact that Kirk Cousins, 31 of 39, 273, 2
yeah, he
touchdowns,
had a great
the one
game.
rushing touchdown. Like Kirk Cousins was the reason we were in this game because he was slinging it early on.
Especially him and Hawkinson, man.
For sure.
And JJ
So
was JJ was there a lot in the earlier on in the game, and then we didn't see a lot of him later, which is also
right,
not good. Every time we've allowed that to happen, we've
right.
never
Which
it never looked good for us on
and kind
offense.
of forward thinking before we keep talking about this game a little bit, I think we're really gonna see because I mean we all know Justin Jefferson is gonna end up going down as one of the greatest to ever play the game, but I think we're really gonna
Yeah.
see how good he is next year. Because we all thought like, oh, people are gonna start adjusting to him and they're gonna start covering him different. They really
Mhm.
didn't up until I don't know who was the first team. Like I know Green Bay shut him down, but before that, like I think now like it's out there on how, and especially since we didn't have a solid number 2 threat, and that's the problem. What you want to see with that play is like they showed like the weird like a graphic of it or something where they just had circles for the players. Justin Jefferson took 3 players with him. What you want is that next level second number 2 receiver to cut
I
across
think
the
so.
field, and you think I can give the guy a shot and chuck it out there and hope he goes and gets it. It was
Right.
KJ, and who knows, maybe KJ would have came down with it. He didn't on the play before, but maybe
Mhm.
KJ comes down with that if you try it. But that's the hope, is that Justin Jefferson takes those 3 guys, and if there's 3 guys on Justin Jefferson, that means someone's going to be singled up. And in the past, Adam Thielen would have been that guy to where you think, oh, cool, I put it up to Thielen, he's going to catch it, he'll come down with it. But
Yeah.
we just don't, and I think that's what this team is missing. You're missing, other than TJ, who was behind the line of scrimmage on that, or behind the first down marker. You're missing that solid number 2 option there, and I
Yeah.
think that's one of the things that kind of glared out with that play as well.
Yeah. So once again, anyone who's in here, we're giving away this Kirk Cousins rookie card. All you have to do is write hashtags or comment hashtag skull in the comments and subscribe to our channel to win this. We're going to give it away at the end of this show. Hashtag skull in the comments. I wanted to bring this up. This was from a little bit ago. The music of and the misery again. Couldn't agree more on all of that. He brought back talking about KLC into the locker room. However, Ed slowed down our defense too much, and offense wasn't aggressive enough either. We need another young mind for defense. And we were talking about, I forgot who we were talking to, and they made a good point that it did kind of feel like we with Kevin O'Connell when he was creating this coaching staff. It was like this young head coach with all this young staff, and I almost felt like maybe he felt like he needed this, older mind veteran coach to be on defense. Like maybe it could have even been a little bit forced to some extent. Maybe not. I don't know for sure. But it did seem like potentially like that. So I'm 100% agree. I'm hoping that next year we bring in a young defensive mind, and I don't know. It's a new NFL. Sorry about some of these older coaches, but there's new type
Right.
of coaches in town, I think.
Kirk could have explained an interception to JJ much better in the past to TJ. Who you going to go to in that situation? Everyone covered, and they were, and that's and that's kind of what I was getting at with a really good number 2 receiver is if JJ takes 3 players, someone's got to get open, and I think that's kind of the thing is, and then obviously Kirk needed more time as well to complete the throw,
Yeah.
but that's the thing, and this is where, and I'm going to agree with Spinoza on this one. The media, just because they want to think what they think about Kirk Cousins, they'll take that, and they did it right after the game. 4th and 8, throw a 3-yard pass. I saw it everywhere,
Yeah.
and it's just he's kind of, I don't know. The media
Just
wants to hate on him, and this is
yeah.
one of those things where, and we kind of talked about beforehand, like if he doesn't win this game, the media is going to absolutely grill him. That's the worst possible thing that could have. I mean, and I don't know if he actually cares what the media has to
It
say
could
to him,
have
but
been. I wouldn't like as someone who is on the other side of you. Like I would say, me and you are kind of like we can see both sides, but you're more towards like the Kirk Cousins like positive side, I
call
guess,
me
and
an
I'm like
apologist
slightly.
'cause I'm not an apologist.
Yeah, I'm on the negative side, whatever. What I was gonna go with that. But after that play, like I did know, like seeing that play is like, come on, Kirk, like this whole season, you get that first down every single time. And
Yeah.
this one time when the game matters, that does happen. But even when that happened, I was not like left that game like, oh, yep, Kirk can't make it happen or anything like that, because I did feel like
I felt
he
confident during that drive.
yeah, I felt like he's the reason, like you said, he was the reason why we were in that game to begin with. There's like zero question. I think for this game, obviously that one play fucked it up for Kirk Cousins and a lot of the haters.
Mm-hmm.
And if he didn't do that, if he didn't do that, but we still lost, I don't think it would have mattered, because there was no question. Our defense was so fucking awful that nothing else was to
No,
blame. You
like
couldn't blame
we
anything on anybody else, because they only we stopped them on one drive, I believe. I think they
yeah,
scored on every single drive besides one.
right.
A Giants offense with fucking what's his name, Hodges, right? Hodges.
Isaiah Hodgins. Yep.
Yeah, Hodges, some guy who's he was like a practice squad player, has destroyed us twice now this season. And like, what's going on? We should not be worried. All you have to do is stop Saquon Barkley. We didn't do that. And then if we stop him, then stop Daniel Jones from running. And those were the two things we could not do. And it fucking kicked us in the ass.
So yeah, I mean, obviously the Kirk Cousins situation has a lot of different angles depending on kind of where you sit. So we get that, but I want to go back to the drive before that. And we already kind of talked about, we had already talked a little bit about Kevin O'Connell in this conversation, but I want to go back to it. The drive before that, where you start out with two screens. The first one gets absolutely just blown up. And you go back to the well with a second screen to TJ Hawkinson. And that's part of where I have an issue with Kevin O'Connell. Like, that is just...
I know Dave from Minnesota Sports Talk. You all should go follow him. You should also go follow Purple and Gold for Days. You have Minnesota Vikings, a Minnesota Vikings podcast. We all do the Purple Code together. You should go to his channel, Purple and Gold for Days. Subscribe there. Then go to the Purple Code. Subscribe there. Go to the Minnesota Sports Podcast or Minnesota Sports Talk podcast. Subscribe there. I wanted to say Dave, because I just know Dave died a little on that TJ Hawkinson tight end screen after the Delvin Cook one.
But I mean, but that is inexcusable play calling. And in a gotta have it drive, not knowing if you're gonna get the ball back in, because our defense had let them go for like 8 year drives. Like, the fact that we went with the screen game 2 plays in a row, and that's part of where I'm like, Kevin, come on, man. I love you. I think you're gonna be head coach of this team for a very long time.
Right.
But what in the hell are you thinking? 2 screens in a gotta have it drive when Kirk Cousins had been balling all game long. Like, come on.
Oh yeah, you got that. Yeah, I
wish Ed was gone weeks ago. True, but the Deers, Pearson, Jefferson second half is not defense fault.
No,
I respect your opinion, Jim, but I say that this isn't like 95% on defense.
Oh yeah, it was the defense's fault, but it is still like, where the hell was Justin Jefferson in the second half?
But I agree with this one. We'd have gotten blown up by 49. Yeah, 49ers would have had their way with us.
I don't know, man. I thought we could have it. I still think, even if we get past the Giants, I still think this team could go out and beat any team.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been that kind of weird year.
Yeah.
Like, I think we could lose to every team. We can beat every team. The same thing as last year. Luckily, we've been winning more until this game, of course.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe we go to San Francisco and maybe win, but I'm also a hopeful person.
Yeah. Too many checkdowns and screens. 100% agree. The screen game, it hadn't worked all year long. Our blocking hadn't been good enough for it. And the fact that Kevin O'Connell on a gotta have it drive does that 2 times is just, to me, was inexcusable. I was mad after those play calls. I just don't.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's sad. But kind of closing off.
Justin, are you talking about the Vikings or the 49ers?
Probably the Niners. Our defense is pretty.
Well, they would have scored 50, and then we come back and win.
Yeah.
For the greatest comeback.
Okay. I looked up, and the one above me is a little fast. So let's go to Dave's comment here. Dave, thanks for joining. Donatel needs another chance. I'm not doing doing Wednesday shows with you anymore, Dave. Not happening. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
That's a lie and a half.
But yeah, man. Kind of putting I guess. I want to talk. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm going to go through, whenever you're ready, I'm going to go through some PFF grades just to kind of get a look at what they thought of that. So
I was just going to Okay, hold up. I got one more comment coming. Okay, 85. Okay, 85% defense. Play call on the last drive was horrible. Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
play calling on the last few drives was pretty piss poor, to be 100% honest with you. And I'm a Kevin O'Connell apologist. I think the guy's amazing. But yeah, I agree with that. His play calling again had been herky jerky at times this year. But I guess before we go into that, I just kind of wanted to put a little bow on this one before we start kind of looking forward a little bit. Again, just I was sad last night, man. Like I don't know. I was like that feeling, just like when your stomach drops and you're just like the
Oh.
hopeless feeling of just knowing that you're KOC choked. He did. But like knowing that your favorite team is done. And me and Jamie are kind of talking about this beforehand that it's so weird that this is just a game. Like it's a game that we don't even play in. But
It's
like
life, bro.
I hate that I love this team so much. Like I'm a passionate person, and this killed me. This loss, especially, and then because like I got very sentimental. I started thinking about the season as a whole. I
Yeah, it's
started
just
thinking about how
roller
exciting,
coaster, man.
like being around the family, watching that Colts comeback, the Giants game early on in the season.
Yeah.
Makes me hard in the heart. It really does.
Well,
It really
especially
does.
this a
Greg,
roller coaster
or
season like
respectively,
this with all these ups and downs, not knowing like are we legit? Are we not? Is this a 2009, 2017 Vikings team or not? And now like look at like next year when we're looking back, my guess is this isn't going down. This is definitely we have to make it past the first round of playoffs. We've already made it past the first round of playoffs with Kirk Cousins as it is. So kind of just like a season that was so unique and so weird and like magical, really. I mean, all those comebacks, even though I wish it didn't have to win by a comeback every time, but now it's going to go down in history as is probably not one of our best seasons or whatever, like we were imagining all the way up until this point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sad. Like again, I just thought about all the moments afterwards and just like it almost feels like a relationship ends, you know? Like you just think about all the good times and it hurts. Like I was bummed out today still. Starting to feel a little better now that we're kind of talking about it. I said this is going to be therapeutic and it definitely has been. Love my Vikes, same old shit every year. I 100% feel that. But
Justin, so you guys come over when you are done to my channel. Mike and I will be on then, and we'll all swing to Dave's, which is Minnesota Sports Talk. So anybody who's watching this after this, they're going to be going live. You should jump on all their podcasts and subscribe to it. We'll definitely hop in there and tap in and say what's up for sure.
But I mean, so at the end of the day, great season, a lot. Anything else to say before you're going to go to some PFF grades?
Oh yeah,
I was going to say like one more sentence that was going to transition us into the next section of this here. But
yeah, I'll run through it just to give so people.
Let's answer one more question here. What do you guys think is the biggest need? A number 2 speed receiver, pass rusher, healthy.
It's hard. Obviously, we need defense, but we have so many rookies coming in that didn't get to play this year, really.
Right.
So there's all of that. So I think we're going to have help there. I really do think now that we have Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson, man, are a legit number 2 receiver. I just don't know how people will stop that offense. Yeah. Obviously, we have a lot of stuff going on.
For sure. And then but the thing with the receiver is like it's been proven you don't need to go receiver in the first round to find a really good one. I mean, if we get a Christian Watson who you just wait for to figure out the game of football as the season goes on.
You didn't have to use Christian Watson for an example.
But I mean, come on, though. I mean, that's the kind of guy you want, like that fast speed guy. So I think that is a need.
George Pickens. We'll use George Pickens.
I was telling Jamie beforehand that I think that what they really need is an impact player on the defensive interior. We don't have that. Like, we don't have a guy like, I mean, even like that 5 tech, like that inside pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't have like that guy in the middle that you're afraid of. I mean, you have Delvin Tomlinson who's solid against the run, from a pass rushing standpoint. Like, you don't have that guy like, and I hate to say Aaron Donald because you don't find an Aaron Donald everywhere, or like you don't find an Aaron Donald like easily because he's one of the best to ever play. But you need like this an impact guy that people are afraid of on the inside because it's only going to help the guys on the outside. Because as we saw, we blitzed and we still couldn't get any pressure. So yeah, something's got to be fixed there.
Yeah, let's go through
I think that's a big need.
These grades real quick. So the tight ends, Johnny Munt's he's always good for 1 first down. That has been good. Irv Smith, that 1 drop was not good. He's at the bottom of the list. PFF, they always get CJ wrong. I don't understand how they how they go about doing that. He should be at the top of the list pretty much every game. But TJ 90.6, Mont 83.7. See, Kirk Cousins did have himself a game. It was just that last decision, the last decision of the
It's
game.
all people are
Even if
going
he
to
was
remember.
pressured, whatever, I still do whatever you can to get that first down. Season ends if not. 74.7 out of Christian Darrison. Oli Udo comes in for Brian O'Neill for 70. Our offensive line did just fine. Our whole offense was pretty good. Justin Jefferson 62. That's pretty low for him. Like someone said earlier in the chat, I wish he didn't disappear in the second half. Ed Ingram 57.6. Let's go into defense. Check what that looks like. Which is probably pretty bad, but I want to see what it looks like anyways. All right. We got Patrick Jones, 13 total snaps, not a lot, 90. Zadarius Smith, 77.3. Daniil Hunter. Duke Shelley, 72.9. Like, what do we need? We don't need to force cornerback help next year and then in the draft because we got Duke Shelley. Jordan Hicks, 71.9. Bullard, 97.3. Let's keep going down to some bigger names here. Cam Bynum has not stepped up the way I was hoping he was this year. So we're getting Harrison Smith, 58.3, Eric Kendricks, 52, Patrick Peterson, one of his worst games we've seen in a while with the 46.7. The veterans ultimately did not have the game that we would like to see from them.
Yeah.
But
and actually that kind of perfectly transitions me into the next point when we're future looking. Obviously this season was fun. 13-4, winning the division, getting into the playoffs, everything. I mean,
exactly.
Such a memorable season. A lot of great things to look at, but also, and this is, our veterans fell out of this game huge. And it's kind of one of the things that you look at here. It's like, as good as you should feel about this and you have a great building block, at the same time, like, you also notice watching this that things are going to be different next year. A lot of things need to change. You almost come out with more the more questions and answers scenario, like, what are we going to do on this defense? Because it's like, if it's a few pieces here and there, they're like, oh yeah, we can fix this. It's like, but this defense was absolutely atrocious.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, especially from that performance, we can't. I hate to say we can't get much worse because I said it. I said it last year before this season.
It's like, and I want to, Greg's comment here, go back to 4-3. Like, that's fine. But our 4-3 defense the last 2-3 years under Zimmer sucked. I just think we're getting to a point where these players are aging out. And it sucks because, like I said, I'm a sentimental person. I think a lot of Vikings fans are. I mean, Minnesota nice. It is what it is. And we've been, with how good Rob Brzezinski is at being a capologist, and then obviously Rick Spielman, how he likes to keep ingrown talent. I think Kwesi came in and just said, we'll the competitive rebuild. I hear other people say this, like, we'll give it a run. We'll stick with what we got, and then we'll know what we need to do after the season's over. 13-4, nobody was expecting this. The fact that it happened is fantastic. But I think Kwesi now is like, I get it. Like, people love these players, and they're home, like, they're kind of homegrown because they were drafted here and stuff. But as we talked about with the draft last year, he was drafting to start replacing some of these players, like we talked about. Asamoah eventually coming in for Kendricks. Seen to eventually take over for Smith. You got the two young corners to eventually take over for Patrick Peterson. And I think it's just finally time that I think Adam Thielen's probably going to be gone. His wife kind of hinted at it. And I think you can get like $50 million in cap savings if we get rid of some of these guys or restructure. Delvin's got to go. Sorry, but CJ might be gone. You never know. I just think that there's a lot of tough decisions are going to be made. And I think a lot of people are going to be hating on Kwesi for making these moves, but eventually you can't get sentimental. Yeah, we all love these players. I love Harrison Smith.
Yeah.
I love Adam Thielen. I love Eric Kendricks. I love Daniil Hunter. I love what these guys bring to this team. But also with a low amount of draft picks too, if you can trade and get some mid low round picks, you might need to do it. We only have 4 picks this year. Daniil Hunter, if you can get a second for him, you do it. You trade some of these other guys off for some later picks. Minnesota Sports Talk, we appreciate it. We appreciate it. I hope there's no sarcasm there. I really hope. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot. It's gonna be a tough offseason, man. It's gonna be sad.
Yeah,
and that's kind of why I think this season, I think that's why a lot of people were pretty emotional yesterday, including Kirk Cousins, because they all said it. Like, this team isn't going to be the same next. I mean, it never is. It's the NFL.
No,
Things
our
always change.
offense will be pretty similar,
Yeah,
other than
but I
maybe
mean,
see what happens with Cook. But on
right,
defense,
but that's the thing. It's not just offense and defense. These guys are a team. Like, they play
right?
against
Oh
each
yeah.
other all training camp.
Oh, they've been around
And
forever.
right, and that's the thing. And I think eventually, I think it's finally hitting people, like, because I think a lot of these defensive guys need to know it's like we're just not the same players, and eventually we're gonna get aged out here, and we're gonna get replaced. Like Harrison Smith, I was listening to his press conference. He sounds like a guy that might hang it up after this is all said and done. Like, he had 50, like his press conference lasted 50 seconds, and the way he was talking, it really struck me. Like, I think either A, he knows he's not going to be here next year, or B, I think he's thinking about hanging him up. Like, it just you got that vibe when you listen to him talk. But and that's just, I don't know, and that's just the saddest part for me, is there's going to be a lot of things in the coming year that I think, like I said, a lot of people are going to be upset about, but it's time. You saw what you have. You saw the window you have. Like Justin Jefferson, you're going to pay him. You have TJ Hawkinson. You got to try to extend him. Christian Darrisaw is going to be one of the best left tackles in football by the time it's all said and done.
Yep.
You have pieces to build off of, but that defense is a puzzle that is going to be interesting to see how we put it together. And I think it's almost going to be a puzzle where you throw the old one. You're missing a couple pieces, so you put it all back in the box. You set it off to the side. You get a new puzzle. You start putting it together. Like, I think it'd be a lot. I don't know. It's sad. It's sad. There's going to be a lot of changes, and that's just kind of frustrating to think about, but it's needed at this point.
Yeah. We'll drop Madison before Cook. I think bring Chandler in to back Cook. We underutilize Naylor and can see KJ step in for Adam. Madison is his contract up after this year?
His contract.
So he'll be gone for sure. Cook, it will just come down to a contract thing, and if we feel like it's worth it. I love Cook. It does make sense. It's hard to pay a running back that much money when, honestly, it does seem like he did lose a step there. We underutilized Naylor for sure. KJ step in for Adam, or step in for that wide receiver too. We saw a lot at the end of the season of KJ. I was hoping for more. I'm not convinced he's going to be for sure a wide receiver too. So I don't know. I think next year I'm hoping we have a decent amount of options, and maybe even an early wide receiver pick, and maybe some guy that we pick up from free agency. I don't really know, to fill in that number 2 wide receiver spot. KJ didn't convince me this year.
Yeah. I mean, KJ is going to be a great number 3 receiver. Like, I think he's a really good number 3.
But you never know.
He has a really solid number 2 option.
Still, but
yeah, if he has a really solid number 2 option as well. So he does have I agree. He has the tools for a number 2. It's just,
yeah.
And he's still young. So that's something to work, something to think about too, is he's still got a ton of time there. But I don't know. Like, and that's it. We're kind of in that weird limbo. Like, we're in limbo with this, because I'm super happy the way the season went. You're bummed that it's over, because you know that there's going to be some tough things to worry about in the offseason. I'm sure, obviously, Jamie and I'll be doing a video about that down the road. Here's some players we can talk about, maybe some players we end up getting rid of.
I know it's too early. I wasn't really preparing.
No.
I was confident we were winning that game. I felt like there's no reason.
I was confident in the fourth quarter until we just didn't pick up that 4th down. Like,
literally, it was the 4th down till I'm like, what? We always do that.
Yeah. Dave, yes, he rounds off his routes for sure. If he just takes a straight inward cut in that, then he probably Kirk sees him earlier, gets the 1st down, and it's a whole different ball game after that. But yeah, any other thoughts on this one?
No, just now it's time to kind of figure out what we're doing in the off season. Came around earlier than we were hoping for. So I think later in this video, we'll probably go deeper into what's or later in this week, we'll probably drop a video that's going to be a little bit more in tune with the off season here. Once again, though, we do have this giveaway.
The pass to KJ on 3rd down was not let well enough. Yes, for sure. And Kirk even did admitted to that in his post game presser as well. He said he put it too much on KJ instead of leading him out in front.
All right, everybody, let's do this giveaway. Skull in the chat. Hashtag skull in the chat to enter this. Anybody that's in here, hashtag skull in the chat. We have 5 entries already. We'll give you guys a minute to do that. We'll just do like a minute. 5's good enough for me.
Yeah. So we can give some final thoughts. Greg, another comment here. Off season, not hard to figure out offensively. Defense, another story for sure. Yeah. A few pieces on offense, but
hashtag skull in the chat for a chance to win the Kirk Cousins rookie card. A couple people joined in.
But defense, yeah. Greg's gonna get the rookie card and burn it on a video and send it to us or something.
That's all right, Greg. I'm glad you're in here.
But yeah, man, it's sad. I'm still kind
Yeah,
of bummed.
it's
But
we'll just turn around. I mean, like I said, I think our defense can't really do much worse next year. We've seen them, especially if we get rid of some of these vets. I believe in Quezzy to shore that defense up a little bit. We'll go into the season with a really good offense. We know that for a fact, and a really good head coach who will have a whole year of experience under his belt, which I
yeah,
think will be fantastic.
and I think
So there's still, we have a good future ahead of us
right.
in general, and we went further and did better than what most people were expecting going into this year. So
And I think we'll have a good indication of what they're going to do scheme wise based on the hires that they make. Like if they do end up firing Donatel, which they should, and when we see the next guy they bring in, I think we'll definitely have a much stronger indication of like what here's the plan, like here's what system they're going to go with. Because honestly, it might help you decide. Like Daniil Hunter, as we saw when he picked it up second half of the year, is because he was a hand in the dirt pass rusher. Where if you go back, if you do decide to stick to a 4-3, I still hope they don't. I still hope they move on from some of these guys. Just start that process now. You probably keep Daniil. If you're going to keep Za'Darius or Daniil, you're more inclined to keep Daniil if you go back to a 4-3. If you stick with the 3-4, maybe you try to find a way to knock that cap number for Za'Darius Smith down a little bit because he's got talent, especially, but he doesn't have a place in a 4-3 defense, but he does in a 3-4. So
perfect.
It'll be interesting.
All right, let's run this. You have to be here to win this because it is really hard to get a hold of people through YouTube. So I need you, anybody that does win this, you have to follow us on our Instagram or Twitter and hit our DM so we can get your mailing address and all that stuff. So let's run this thing. All right, let's go. It's gonna be Joseph.
You still
Joseph,
here,
are you there? Joseph, let us know we're there. Let's answer this real quick. KOC needs to grow a pair of big, giant, hairy balls and put his foot down on players. Let them know who's the boss.
I think we're seeing that with the fact that Ed Donatel is still here. Like, I feel like he's too afraid to rock the boat sometimes, and that's kind of what these players coaches like. That's kind of what you get. But eventually, he's gonna have to make that's why the cleat gate thing really was a thing that I just didn't care for. That really I'm like, come on, man. Like if you know what's best for the team, you gotta come on, just do it. What do we got? Kofi. Well, I said it, the defense would be the end of us, and it happened. I was mad at Kirk until I went back and looked at the play. Left side of the O-line was blown up in 2 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, like he was blown up and it wasn't. I just still no matter what, I think you try to get that ball past the first. I don't know.
But Joseph, I take it Joseph's not here.
You're not in here. You have to stay in here, man. Next time. You'll be back. No worries. All right, we're going to run this again. I'll give Joseph one more chance. Joseph, you hear us?
He's going to be very disappointed to realize he didn't.
All right, we're running this again. 3, 2. All right, here we go.
It's just meant to be at this point. We'll have to find a way to get.
We'll get it. We're getting this. That's so wild, twice in a row. All right, the music and the misery. I know you're here. You better not. You might have left after.
No, he just the actual YouTube chat is faster than the StreamYard chat. He just commented.
The music of misery. Follow. I don't know if you follow us on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. You should go follow us on there. Subscribe to our channel. I don't know if you did already. If anyone else is in here, please subscribe. We are going to continue having these live streams. We give away a rookie card, Justin Jefferson rookie cards generally every single time we hop it on. I don't know what our live stream plan is going to be in the off season yet, but okay, sweet.
Cool.
What's your name in there?
If you don't mind giving,
if you don't mind saying your name, it's up to you. I'll just hit me up on there. I'll know who you are for sure. All right, yeah. Congratulations to you. Hit us up on IG. Give me your mailing address. All that good stuff. Jim Sal, congrats.
Cool.
It's the same thing.
But yeah, for sure, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Again, I mean, for anybody here who's been watching us all season long, we appreciate the support. Starting this, I didn't know how any of this would go when me and Jamie started this. It was a fun season. Last year we started it and we had too many losses to talk about. It was fun to get that feeling, get to talk about wins and get to talk about good things and better vibes during this type of
stuff. It would have been nice to dive into the playoffs, though. Just that excitement with all the other fans. That's the coolest thing about doing this is you just have all the other fans you can talk to, whether it's in the chat, whether it's other guests on, whatever.
Yeah.
I was ready for that excitement of playoffs.
But thanks to everybody who has joined us all season long. It's been a lot of fun.
We're not going to be coming throughout the entire offseason.
Yep, we're going to do some mock drafts. We did a lot of those last year. It's going to be fun. We're going to kind of break down positional by position how the Vikings players did this season. We're gonna kind of go deeper into like what we did last year. We did like top 5 of like draft prospects and stuff for each position. We're gonna be digging into some draft prospects. Any other news that kind of comes out, we'll make sure to jump on top of it and get videos out for everybody. And we got one more comment coming from Kofi here. Guys, I joined late. What do you think we should do going forward? Donna Shells be fired 2 seconds after the game. I've been shit about being fired. Yes. We kind of talked about that. It's going to be a off season with a lot of question marks, I think. First off, I think Donatel needs to go. But I also think that we don't have the players. I think it's a little bit of both, but Donatel kind of needs to be the scapegoat. But I think we're gonna see a lot of guys that we've known to love coming or to love the last decade that we're gonna have to see him go. And that's why yesterday was so sad to watch that game end. Because I think it's the realization that this team is going to look a lot different next season. I think it's sad. It sucks. One time you asked what state you're from. Yeah.
Hey, where are you from, Greg?
In Indiana. Nice. Vikings fan from Indiana. All right.
Indiana. We're from Duluth, Minnesota. I'm in Colorado right now. He's in the cities.
Yeah, I'm down to St. Paul area, but yeah, definitely that's an idea we'll bring up next time because it's kind of cool.
We're gonna keep it going.
See where people
just keep coming back, win some of our cards. I want to give them away. Connecticut
in Crown Point, nice.
That's crazy. I swear we run into, especially like online. I run into more Viking fans probably from other states than even the people that we do content with. Like Dave, we do with Minnesota Sports Talk. He lives in where is it? Florida, South Florida somewhere.
Yep, from South Dakota.
Rap with Purple Pocket Podcast. He's from South Carolina. So there's a lot of Viking fans from other states that get into all this Viking content and stuff, which is interesting.
Big following in Connecticut, huh? Interesting.
Denver and Colorado, there's quite a bit of following.
I was 7 now. So you've seen it all. I'm sorry. You've seen all the bad stuff.
Even my life, I'm 20 or I'm 30, 20. I want to say 29. I'm 30. So
I'm from Ghana, but live in North Carolina. Interesting. Because Kwesi's from Ghana too, right?
Where in North Carolina are you from, Kofi? If you don't mind me asking. I was out in Asheville for like 6 months not too long ago. That's why I ask.
Jacksonville?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Dude, let's do it. Let us know. I don't have any beers in the fridge right now, but if I did, I would.
For sure.
There's definitely live streams where we'll definitely have a couple beers. Nice, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
But all right, we'll end this.
Yeah. But hey, thanks everybody for joining.
Live stream probably a week from today. We need to figure out exactly how that's going to roll, but we'll at least have one right away. Please show up to that again. And yeah, man. I mean, I'll even bring some beer for sure. And we can have a good time. And even though we're out of playoffs, there's still playoff football, and that's still exciting.
Football, I still love this game. I love this team more, and it sucks, but we'll all get through it because we've had a lot.
This is nothing compared to what we've dealt with before.
Exactly. So, but again, thanks everybody for joining this whole season, including today. We really enjoy the support. Make sure to subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. We need to get to 1,000 subscribers by soon. We're at 635 right now. We got to bump it up. Got to get up to 1,000. Start getting monetized for this stuff because it's a lot of fun to do. Yeah. So. Again, thanks. Keep an eye out for the rest of the season. We'll have our off season. We'll have a lot more content coming your way. And Skol Vikes, I guess, right?
Skol Vikes.
All right.